This is AP News Minute. U.S. federal agents deployed flash grenades and gas during clashes with protesters in Portland, Oregon early Monday. Protesters had shot fireworks during demonstrations against police brutality and the federal deployment to Portland. China took control of the former U.S. consulate in the western city of Chengdu. China ordered the consulate to close days after the U.S. shut down China's Houston consulate. Hurricane Hannah was downgraded to a tropical storm as it tore through South Texas and into northern Mexico. The storm destroyed boats and flooded streets along the Texas coast. And it was a near miss for much of Hawaii as Hurricane Douglas rolled by. The powerful winds, storm surge, and flooding weren't as strong as forecast. Mike Hempen, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
This is AP News Minute. The mayors of Portland and 5 other cities asked Congress to outlaw sending militarized federal agents to cities that don't want them. President Trump says he sent agents to Portland, Oregon to stop protests, but local and state officials say they've made things worse. The White House has agreed to begin negotiating with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over a new coronavirus relief package. A $600 weekly jobless benefit that Democrats call a lifeline for unemployed Americans is due to run out Friday. President Trump's lawyers filed new arguments in federal court to block a criminal subpoena for his tax records. The Supreme Court ruled a New York prosecutor could subpoena the tax records, but Trump's lawyers call it harassment. Republicans and Democrats came to the Capitol Rotunda to pay respects to Congressman John Lewis. Lewis was a civil rights icon and spoke ahead of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech in 1963. He died on July 17th at the age of 80. Rita Foley, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute. This is AP News Minute. Republicans and Democrats in Congress are still working out their differences over the next coronavirus relief deal. A $600 a week unemployment benefit runs out Friday. Republicans want to cut it to $200 a week. A senior White House official says the Trump administration is negotiating with Oregon's governor over the Portland protests. State and local officials want federal agents out, saying they've made the protests more violent. The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the coronavirus is the worst pandemic in more than a century. A Johns Hopkins University count says the virus has infected more than 4 million Americans and killed nearly 150,000. Muslim pilgrims are arriving in Mecca, Saudi Arabia's holiest site for the Hajj. All of the pilgrims were tested for the coronavirus, quarantined, and are moving in small groups. Rita Foley, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
This is BBC News with the latest headlines for viewers in the UK and around the world. England recorded the highest levels of excess deaths in Europe across the first half of the year, according to new figures showing the impact of the coronavirus. New guidance for people showing symptoms of COVID. Officials are expected to extend the isolation period from 7 to 10 days in England over fears of rising case numbers in parts of Europe. Australia suffers its worst day since the pandemic began, with rising numbers of both cases and fatalities. In Hong Kong, China's clampdown continues as 12 opposition candidates are disqualified from standing in the upcoming elections. Prosecutors respond to a record low in convictions for rape cases in England and Wales, saying they want the conviction rate to increase. 7 newborn babies die in one night in a Zimbabwe hospital after urgent treatment was delayed due to a staffing crisis. And a multi-billion-dollar, decade-long project to bring rock samples from Mars to Earth prepares to blast off in an attempt to answer whether there's ever been life on Mars.
Since coronavirus started spreading around the world in early January, scientists have been trying to find a way to stop it. Some existing medicines have shown promise in treating patients, and researchers are racing to develop new vaccines to try to prevent people from catching COVID-19. There are now more than 100 vaccines being researched worldwide, and in less than 2 weeks, the nation of Russia plans to approve the world's first coronavirus vaccine. It wants to start mass producing 2 of them in September and October. A Russian official says the country's focus wasn't on being the first, but on protecting people. There are concerns, though, about the drug's safety and effectiveness and whether Russia has carried out enough testing on people. Safety and effectiveness are concerns about any vaccine.
This is AP News Minute. The White House offered a short-term extension of a $600 weekly unemployment benefit. Democrats rejected it and said President Trump's team doesn't grasp the severity of the coronavirus crisis. Hurricane Isaias grew to a Category 1 storm and could approach South Florida over the weekend. It caused flooding, power outages, and small landslides in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Hundreds of protesters returned to the U.S. courthouse in Portland, Oregon Thursday night. Federal agents are expected to begin a phased withdrawal, with state police taking over outside the building. And a massive fire broke out at an apartment building in suburban Philadelphia. Fire crews were seen trying to combat the blaze, but no injuries were immediately reported.
Watching BBC World News, these are the headlines. Spain has reported a massive 18.5% fall in GDP in the second quarter as a result of the pandemic and the lockdown restrictions. The French and Italian economies have also been badly hit with double-figure falls. Vietnam has announced its first coronavirus death after an outbreak was detected in the city of Da Nang. The outbreak in the coastal resort follows 3 months with no new infections across the whole country. The Hong Kong activist Joshua Wong says the campaign for democracy will go on a day after he and 11 other candidates were banned from standing in upcoming elections there. The final major ritual of the annual Hajj pilgrimage has taken place, the symbolic stoning of the devil just outside Mecca, with social distancing rules in place.
The big tech quartet demonstrated its dominance on Thursday after Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google parent Alphabet all reported earnings that beat Wall Street's expectations, the first time all four companies posted financial results on the same day, and a day after the CEOs from each outfit took a congressional beating from lawmakers who alleged they abused their colossal market power.
Titans in our economy.
Amazon posted its biggest profit in the company's 26-year history, CEO Jeff Bezos calling it, quote, another highly unusual quarter, while brick-and-mortar retailers over the same period had to shut stores during government-imposed lockdowns. The e-commerce giant's profit beat Wall Street's expectations so much so it looked like a typo, earnings per share coming in at more than $10 versus an estimated $1.46. The biggest of the big, Apple, not only posted blowout results but announced a stock split, making the purchase of its shares more accessible to the masses. Apple reported year-on-year revenue gains across every category and in every geography as consumers working and learning from home turned to its products and services. Facebook smashed Wall Street's estimates for the quarter as well, raking in ad sales as businesses used its digital advertising tools to tap a surge in online traffic during stay-at-home orders, even as they slashed marketing budgets elsewhere. But Alphabet, the $1 trillion parent of Google, did not fare as well as Mark Zuckerberg's social network, posting its first revenue decline in the company's history. But the decline was less than expected as many advertisers stuck with the most popular online search engine over the last few months. In extended trading, shares of Facebook and Amazon climbed 6%, with Apple rising 5% following their reports, while shares of Alphabet were only slightly higher. All the stocks were already trading at or near all-time highs in the regular session Thursday.